Welcome to Group Theory. Today, we are going to explore a powerful and elegant way to represent permutations, known as cycle notation. If you have ever wondered how mathematicians keep track of complex rearrangements without getting lost in a sea of numbers, this is the secret. By the end of this video, you will understand how to read, write, and multiply these cycles with ease. Before we dive into the notation, let us understand why this concept matters. Imagine a group of 5 friends organizing a secret Santa gift exchange. Everyone gives exactly one gift and receives exactly one gift. In mathematics, this kind of perfect one-to-one matching is called a bijection. And when it happens within a single set, we call it a permutation. A permutation simply rearranges a set of items. Every single item gets assigned exactly one new position, and no two items ever end up in the same spot. Understanding this fundamental rearrangement is the first step in group theory. Now that we understand what a permutation is, let us look at how we write it down. Traditionally, permutations are written in a bulky 2-row matrix, which takes up a lot of space. Cycle notation is a brilliant shortcut. It condenses the information by only tracking the elements that actually move, grouping them into closed loops. You simply read the numbers inside the parentheses from left to right to see where each item goes. The very last number in the bracket always wraps around to the first. If a number is missing from the brackets, it means it is a fixed point and stays exactly where it started. This brings us to the mathematical representation. Before we write a cycle, we often start with a 2-row matrix. Let us look at where this formula comes from conceptually. The matrix shows a permutation, which we will call alpha, acting on the numbers 1 through 5. The top row represents the original starting positions of our elements. The bottom row represents the new destinations where each element is sent. For example, looking at the first column, the number 1 is sent to the number 3. If the top row increases, the bottom row tells us exactly how the set is scrambled. Our goal is to translate this bulky matrix into a clean cycle notation. Before we move on, let us see this with a concrete example. We are given the 2-row matrix for alpha and asked to convert it into cycle notation. We always start with the smallest available number, which is 1. Looking at the matrix, 1 goes to 3. Next, we find 3 in the top row, and we see it goes to 5. Then, we find 5 in the top row, and we see it goes back to 1. Because we have returned to our starting number, the loop is closed. We write this sequence as the cycle 1, 3, 5. This perfectly captures the first independent loop of our rearrangement. Continuing with our conversion, we must account for the numbers we have not used yet. The smallest unused number is 2. Looking at the matrix, 2 goes to 4. We then find 4 in the top row and we see it goes back to 2. This closes our second loop, giving us the cycle 2, 4. Because these two cycles do not share any numbers, they are called disjoint cycles. They are completely independent loops that do not interfere with each other. We write the full permutation by placing them next to each other. This final compact form tells us everything about how the 5 elements are rearranged. Now that we have our cycle notation, let us visualize what it actually means. Here you are looking at a directed graph of the permutation we just found. Notice how the diagram is split into 2 completely separate parts. On the left, the blue arrows show the first cycle. 1 goes to 3, 3 goes to 5, and 5 loops back to 1. On the right, the red arrows show the second cycle, where 2 and 4 simply swap with each other. You can clearly see that the numbers in the first loop never interact with the numbers in the second loop. This visual separation is exactly what the mathematical term disjoint means in practice. Let us solidify this by converting another permutation, which we will call beta. We are given a new 2-row matrix operating on the numbers 1 through 6, and we need to find its disjoint cycle notation. We approach this exactly as before, building the cycles one by one. Starting with the smallest available number, 1, we look at the bottom row and see it goes to 6. Following 6, we see it goes to 3. Following 3, it goes back to 1. This closes our first bracket, giving us the cycle 1, 6, 3. We have successfully mapped the first 3 elements. Moving forward with permutation beta, we look for the next smallest unused number, which is 2. When we check the matrix, we see that 2 goes to 2. It does not change position at all. In cycle notation, an element that maps to itself can be written as a cycle of length 1, just the number 2 inside parentheses. However, it is standard mathematical practice to simply omit it entirely to keep the notation clean. Any number missing from the final expression is automatically understood to be a fixed point. So we will leave the number 2 out of our final answer. Finally, we check the remaining numbers for permutation beta. The next unused number is 4. The matrix shows that 4 goes to 5. Looking at 5, we see it goes back to 4. This forms our final closed loop, which we write as the cycle 4, 5. We have now accounted for all 6 numbers. The final answer for permutation beta is the product of the disjoint cycles 1, 6, 3, 4 and 4, 5. The number 2 is omitted because it is a fixed point. This compact form tells us everything we need to know about how the 6 elements are rearranged. Now that we can write individual permutations, let us look at how they interact. What happens when you apply one permutation and then immediately apply another? In mathematics, multiplying permutations means performing function composition. Because these are functions, standard mathematical convention dictates that we evaluate them from right to left. This is a crucial rule. You take a starting number, see where the rightmost cycle sends it, and then take that intermediate result and feed it into the next cycle to the left. You continue this tracking process until you have checked all the cycles for that specific number. This formula we just saw leads us to an important operation. Let us define 2 permutations. Gamma is the permutation 1, 2 times 3, 4. Delta is the permutation 1, 3, 5 times 2, 4. We want to calculate their product, gamma delta. Conceptually, this means we are applying the rearrangement delta first and then applying the rearrangement gamma to the result. In our formula, delta is the right permutation, so its cycles act on the numbers first. Gamma is the left permutation, so it acts on the output of delta. If we add more permutations to the chain, we always start from the far right and work our way left. Let us calculate this product step by step. We are given the product of gamma and delta, and we need to express it as a single set of disjoint cycles. We start with the number 1. Looking at the rightmost permutation, delta, the cycle sends 1 to 3. Now we take that 3 and look at the leftmost permutation, gamma. In gamma, the cycle sends 3 to 4. Therefore, the overall effect is that 1 goes to 4. Next, we track the number 4. In delta, 4 goes to 2. In gamma, 2 goes to 1. Since we have returned to our starting number 1, we close the first cycle as 1, 4. Continuing our multiplication, we pick the smallest unused number, which is 2. We feed 2 into the right permutation, delta, which sends it to 4. We take that 4 and feed it into the left permutation, gamma, which sends it to 3. So overall, the number 2 goes to 3. Next, we track the number 3. In the right permutation, delta, 3 goes to 5. We take 5 to the left permutation, gamma. Notice that 5 does not appear anywhere in gamma, meaning it is a fixed point. So 5 stays 5 and overall 3 goes to 5. We are carefully mapping each element's journey through both permutations. To finish the problem, we track our current number, 5. In the right permutation delta, 5 goes to 1. We take that 1 to the left permutation gamma, which sends it to 2. Since we have returned to the number 2 which started this loop, we close the second cycle as 2, 3, 5. We have now successfully combined 2 separate permutations into one clean set of disjoint cycles. The final answer is the product of the cycle 1-4 and the cycle 2-3-5. This right-to-left tracking ensures we correctly map every element to its final destination without confusion. Now that we have mastered the mechanics, let us understand why cycle notation matters in the real world. Cycle notation is essential because it instantly reveals the order of a permutation, telling you exactly how many times a rearrangement must be repeated before everything returns to its starting position. This is heavily used in cryptography, like the advanced encryption standard, where data bits are scrambled in complex cycles to hide information. It also appears in physics and chemistry to predict how molecules vibrate based on their symmetries. Without this notation, analyzing massive permutations like the quintillion states of a Rubik's Cube would be computationally overwhelming. Let us summarize the key takeaways from our exploration of cycle notation. First, remember that permutations are simply bijections that rearrange a set of items. Cycle notation is a powerful tool that tracks the closed loops of these moving elements, saving space and revealing hidden structures. We learned that disjoint cycles are completely independent loops. When multiplying or composing cycles, always remember the golden rule: evaluate from right to left. Finally, omitting fixed points keeps our notation clean and efficient. You have now covered the full topic and are ready to tackle complex permutations in advanced mathematics.